Well, hello and welcome to the MoJo Monday, authentic and real wellness testimonials and shares from real people sharing real results, very heart-centered results and stories tonight. We want to welcome everybody. This is Robert at my home office here in Granbury, Texas, a little stormy out there, and my host with the most,
Mr. Jim Rhodes, but I was just wondering if you're Mo and I'm Joe. I'm just curious.
No, I think I'm Joe and you're Mo, or yeah, something
Okay.
like that. I forget who had more hair, so Mo or so
Just barely.
or maybe you're Curly and I'm Mo, so it's
There we go. Oh boy.
We want to welcome everybody. And speaking of that, come to find out, all of our stories are these powerful ladies. Thank goodness. Who is grateful for powerful, beautiful, brilliant women that God made? God made men first, and then he kind of upgraded the act, and he learned a lot, at least a couple things. At least
he perfected the first model.
Least of you asked our female partners here, but anyway, so we want to welcome everybody, and we're all centered, and we're all come to know each other in this context because of this beautiful community called Zalevo, and you're going to hear what that crazy word means in just a moment. So we want to welcome everybody. All right, so Jim, I'm going to have you explain to us why we want this around for our grandkids. Before we do that, and our grandkids, let me pull up a little slide and a visual to back it up, Jim. So once.
Absolutely. Well, this call is for teaching benefits to all of us because it's sharing information. We're not doctors. We don't prescribe. We don't diagnose. And if and when you choose to change your diet and utilize things such as the Zalevo products, we suggest you always consult with your doctor, especially if you're under doctor's care on various medications and so forth. Have them monitor you. These are foods, and the results we're going to share with you vary from person to person depending on what's used and their own personal health journey. So that's basic information for our education. And with that, we have a lineup tonight that is so fun, along with the upcoming calls, which are on the 19th, which is next week, strengthening our immune system. You need to realize that is your number one defense against all the bad guys. And I'm saying even right down to cancer. Alkalize to energize with the greens. And that's going to be a fun one because being alkalized and having those vital core greens and being more consistent in your bathroom visits is a beautiful thing that comes through that particular product. And again, on July 3rd, healthy weight loss. So many people try so many things that disappoint them, or they get results because they cut their intake down so much they're in starvation mode. But shortly after they get off of that, whatever it was that helped them to drop those pounds that they worked so hard for, all of them come back and invite their friends. And it's called the rebound thing. And that's what's different about this. This is a lifestyle. It is a way to drop the weight healthily and replace it with lean body, which we're going to talk about, and muscle. So that is tonight's call. We're excited about authentic and real life impact, building lean muscle and lean body mass. And we're going to have several wonderful people share their experience with it. We didn't get into the word Zalevo, which means very simply Z standing for zenith, the highest point in an arc, and levo, Latin to lift to our highest potential of what the human body can have. When you give it what it needs, it will give you back what you're looking for, which is your energy, your mental clarity, your stamina, your sleeping all of the things to regenerate, your digestive system working smoothly. All of those things are very possible no matter what age we're at, if we will listen to our bodies, what it needs, and give it in a form that it can use. Zalevo has mastered what it needs. When we pick those things and put them in our body that we know it needs, we see the results. And all of you look like you may have already found it because you're looking marvelous. And you are the VIPs on this call. You did something that a lot of other people don't do, showed up. Thank you for being here. And with that, back to you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, big brother. So first of all, we have a little visual for each of our guests tonight. So I'm going to pull up the infamous little 3 dress picture that Miss Sage, and her little brand is let's hear some sage advice in a moment. So before we do that, Miss Andi, let me pull up this this slide again, and let me just show a visual here. So before I go to back to your share, could you just kind of let us know what's going on in this in these pictures here?
Sure. The first dress I wore to an event October 21st, and it was fine. It looked good. I mean, it pulled a little bit in here, but whatever. Went to wear it a year later. Didn't occur to me I needed to try it on to make sure it still worked. I mean, I hadn't lost a single pound, so I don't fluctuate that much. And you can see in those pictures, it was literally unwearable. I tried to belt it and it flared out, but I was going to an event. I needed to wear an orange dress. Luckily, I had another one, but I was just astounded because, you know, when the changes are happening a little slower as you become healthier, you know, you immediately have the drop when you're using your products for the first time. So I was aware of that. But over the course of a year, I hadn't lost any pounds, but I had lost hecka inches there. So that's what that is.
I love it, Andi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So that was Andi Sage. She's over in the on the western part of the US in the Vegas area. She's been on board, as you saw, in Zalevo for what, couple years now, Miss Andi?
Couple years. It'll be 3 in July.
Awesome. So you know, obviously, well, I don't know. I say obviously, but I'm assuming something that maybe I shouldn't. So were there any particular health challenges that were, paint us a little picture, tied to getting stronger and even more toned, how it affects you emotionally, mentally, physically? Could you paint us a little picture before and after around centering on getting stronger and the lean muscle theme tonight?
Okay. Sure. Thank you for asking. I never had this huge fluctuation of weight. I never had to lose 100 pounds. That wasn't the world I lived in, but I was always here. I always fought it. I always watched every morsel I put in my body only to stay always here or bigger. And it was at the beginning of the pandemic, and what I had been using just flat out stopped. And I called the famous Kathy Horn and I said, that's it. I am just going to be, and I used unpleasant terms about my own body and my own energy level. And she said, I have a story for you. And she basically unfolded the story that is today we know Zalevo. But at that point, I'm like, sure, whatever. I just need something to work. You know, I was kind of in a fog. My dad had just died. The real transition changed for me when I switched from Zalevo's plant-based to the whey protein. And I had literally sent whey protein back at another company because I didn't like it. So I fought trying the whey, and I drank for 3 days and 2 pounds came off. And drank for 3 days and 2 pounds came off, which was kind of the point where I started looking and going, okay, what else you have? Like when one thing starts to work, you start paying attention. And it was really something, Jim, you said that made a difference. We've always heard muscle weighs more than fat, but that doesn't really mean anything. And it was when I was on a call and you said, if you take lean protein and you put it in your body and create lean muscle, that's going to gobble up the fat. And I'm like, wait, what? And it was like a light bulb. You could hear it go, you know, went off. And so once you know that, when somebody says to drink your Ultra 30 shake, and oh, now with the build, within 30 minutes of working out, because you now understand that you're building in these little chains, it's just, I know you don't know what you don't know till you realize you didn't know it. And now that I know what putting these products in at certain times or on an empty stomach with collagen or whatever, I can watch my body change almost in real time, but literally within 3 or 4 days, especially if I'm working out.
Wow. Pretty amazing. So again, you had some different things happening in your life. You were on some good products. They kind of staled out, if you want to call that.
Yeah.
And next level. So you want to touch on, I know we had the foundational, for those who are new to Zaleva, we had these foundational products, which we all love. And then along came the newer performance line. You touched on the build, you touched on the alpha. Is there any other comments, especially around the more of the red line, the performance line, or the collar?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. And it's funny because you once something's amazing and you're using it for 6 months or even a year, you sort of forget how amazing it is because it's just part of your routine. So when they came out with something new and I tried the alpha, everybody said it kind of made them buzzy, their fingers. I'm like, oh, I didn't have that. So, and I like the buzzy. But I was aware because I'm a watcher. I'm a clock watcher at the gym. I mean, when I am there for my hour, I am out of there. Except for when I had the alpha, I worked out for another 15 minutes and I'm never tired. I just wasn't ready to go yet. I'm like, oh no, that machine's ready. I'm going to jump on that. I'm like, oh, the mindset difference. I noticed a heat though that came on my core probably 15 minutes after 10 minutes, even after starting at the gym, like an internal, I mean, I'm going to say internal combustion because that's what it felt like. But I'm like, okay, wow. I mean, I was very aware of it, of that heat thing. So then I worked out an extra 15 minutes, came home, added the build to my shake. And my son, after 2 workouts, was literally wanting to point out that he could see some definition. So those 2 were really powerful for me. The next morning, though, I woke up and I was a little disappointed because my reward for working out hard is when I soar. I mean, that's how I know I did enough. And I wasn't sore at all. But I'm like, okay, but common sense tells me you worked out for 15 minutes longer and you put this stuff in there. I think this is the key. I mean, really, it's got to be something, because I would have normally been very sore after that. And like, okay, I'm good for 3 or 4 days now. I mean, again, I'm not the one who's loving to get in there. So if I'm going to be in the gym, I want maximum impact. And that's what I feel like this gets me. If you want real results, use the stuff.
Yeah, and the proof is in the pudding. Yeah,
it is. It is. I mean, I am a different human than I was. And I will say, you asked a little bit about depression, and I had a little bit of that during the pandemic. And I don't know how much is related, but I know that if you don't feel good, it is very hard to climb out of any kind of depression state. And I feel good. I'll get a little extra catch in the mirror. I'm like, oh, that chin's going down a little bit. Like you feel good. You look good. It's harder to be depressed when you've got good people in your life, good products in your life. This has just been a godsend for me. It really has.
Wow.
And people I shared it with too.
And those of you who know Andi, who sees a visible difference in this beautiful lady. I mean, it's, it's tangible. Thank you for who you are and your array of light and sunshine. Thank you, Miss Andi Sage.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Love and light. So, okay. So now we're going to go from over in the Las Vegas, Nevada area part of the US. Now we're going to bebop over, we're going to go east and south, going over to the Houston, Texas area. So before I introduce this lady, let me just show a little visual here of her before and after. Well, let me go ahead and introduce her so she can explain what these slides represent. Let me go ahead and do that. Pardon me. So let me go ahead and do this. So I met this lady a number of years ago, and she's been on a number of our Mojos because her story crosses so many of our themes and topics. And I asked her to pop on tonight as well, because she was just mentioned in the Transform Challenge we just had. She's out doing the men on the tennis courts. She's running 5Ks. She had a very visible, tangible difference in her physique and her body. And so this is Angie Pappengallen, a very close friend. And welcome, Miss Angie. I say Angie Pappengallen, and that's her sister, who I also love. So welcome, Donna, to the call tonight.
Thank you, Robert. It's okay. I love my sister, so it's fine.
I love her too. And by the way, I worked with her sister and her both for a number of years. So they're just, anyway, so welcome, Miss Donna, to the call tonight.
Thank you. I was, Robert called me this afternoon and I was like, but Robert, I'm not like a big, bodybuilder type with the lean muscle. And I said, the only real difference I've noticed is that my weight keeps staying the same, but I keep losing inches and my Renfro scale tells me that my body fat percentage is down and my muscle mass is up. And he's like, Donna, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm
So,
like, yeah, here I am.
let me pull up a visual, and some of us have seen some of these visuals, but there's a more recent one that we'll look at tonight as well. So there's Miss Andi again. So now we're going to go to Donna. Many of us have seen the before and after here, Donna. So this is a very recent one on the right, isn't it?
Yes, that was Saturday. A friend of mine and I ran, they call it the Lemonade Dash, 5K race. And so I actually took third in my age division. But so now I love this picture in a way because there's kind of a little bit of an optical illusion, and the white race bib blends in and it makes me look even thinner. So I like that. But but anyway, so yeah, I'm running these races, and you know, I've got plenty of energy. I mean, it was pretty steamy. I live down in, like Robert said, in the Houston area, so the race was in Houston, and I want to say that it was probably 80 something degrees with 80 something % humidity when we were running. So pretty steamy that morning. And I drank a trifecta of alpha, collagen, and burn mode on my way to the race. And that gives me like the energy that I need and all of that. And then after the race, I drank my shake with some build added into it. And, you know, it's just a great way to get that lean protein in within that half-hour window after you work out. And the flavors are great. The results speak for themselves. I think, so the middle picture was about 4 or 5 months into my journey. And I was already weighing less than I had weighed in using my previous products. And then now I'm about 10 pounds less than I had ever been on the other products. And I've been maintaining that now for a year and a half. I've never been able to do that. I've always been on that roller coaster. So it's been great. I'm 63 years old. I play tennis 3 to 5 days a week, just depends. Sometimes I'm running in the morning and playing tennis in the afternoon, or vice versa. And I tell people now I get to relive my childhood, but now I can afford it. So, you know.
Well,
And
I love the
Beautiful.
title of your transform. If those of you, if anybody's watching this is brand new to Zalevo, we do have an 8-week challenge, which is right now. I just started off a couple of weeks ago, and here recently. And I love how you titled your story "Aging Actively." And I think for most of us on this line tonight, Donna, all of us would agree that we want to be active, vibrant, healthy, strong, all the way, you know, through. And then at the end, just kind of drop off versus kind of getting weaker over time and inactive. You know, we want the opposite. So you're a living example of that. Thank you for being the inspiration that you are, Ms. Donna.
well, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me on.
You bet. And I guess the last question I have for you, have you found, how would you describe the support community and the support system here?
Oh my goodness. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Everyone is so supportive. I met a lot of the people at a retreat when I was very new in Zalevo. And we all decided that we were going to do a burn, what we call our extended fasts. We call them burn days. And so we burned while we were at the retreat. And Carol and Barb and I had to go to fly out of the Vegas airport. And we were all like, our pants are falling down. We can't believe this. Well, a few months later, when I went to my next retreat, it was cold in St. George. It hadn't been cold in Houston yet. So I hadn't been wearing jeans or anything like that. And I didn't think anything about it. I just packed my clothes. And I got to the retreat and my jeans were like falling off, and Kathy Horn and Jill were giving me a hard time, but all in fun about, oh, you'd wanted to show off how much weight you had lost and all that. But this team is so supportive of one another. And I love the servant leader chats on Mondays and Fridays and mornings. So if you haven't joined us on one of those, come hop on in. But I've made friends with people from all over the country now that I would not have met otherwise. And everyone supports one another, and I know I can call on them if I need anything. If I've got a prospect that is in a similar position as one of my friends, I'm like, hey, can you talk to this person or whatever? So everyone is very supportive and just very fun. We have a fun time, and that's one of our core values. Have fun.
I agree. Have fun. And also, it's a big family. So I have to say this, you are definitely aging backwards. So you look so vibrant and full of life, and you're so strong. So thank you, Donna, for being on this call and always sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, my friend. All right. So now we're going to go over to a lady I haven't met yet. I'm looking forward to hearing her story. Jim texted me back along with David and Geri Hinton and said, hey, you got to get this lady on the call tonight. And then I think it was you, Trcia, that sent me your pictures, which we're going to see in just a moment. And it's amazing. She had the body composition. I would say more of the weight loss specifically initially, and then she got clearly in a minute. She got very serious about then getting fit, and definitely the lean muscle, cardio, strength, and etc. So you're going to see that in just a moment. Before we pull up the visuals, let's welcome Miss Trcia. She's there in the I always want to say hurricane, but it's Hurricane, Utah. So welcome, Miss Trcia, to the call tonight. Whoops, she is muted. See if she can unmute herself there.
There we go. Does that work?
It works.
Totally. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, it's good to have you here. So one of the things we all love to hear is, how were you introduced to Zalevo?
So I had a good friend. I was on my weight loss journey, and I was feeling malnutritioned and just sluggish, and just like I needed a gut health like reboot. And so she introduced me to Zalevo and was telling me, how excited she was about it and how it has helped her so much with her gut health and, in her health journey. And so I've ever since.
I missed the last thing you said. You said something about the journey, then you cut out.
Oh, I've just been hooked ever since.
Well, how long has it been for you?
I think it's been about 8 or 9 months.
Okay, so now we're going to pull up these visuals. So can you walk us through what we see on these slides in just a moment, Miss Trcia? So let me pull up this. There's Miss Donna again. So this is amazing. So walk us through from the left side, and then each of these photographs is a timeline.
Yeah. So that first one is going to be about 1.5 years ago. And my whole life, I've been overweight, and, I've had 4 babies, so they've packed on a lot of weight for me. And I decided that I was ready to get healthy and feel good about myself. And so I started doing some intermittent fasting, and along the way of that journey, you can see the second picture, I started to get very, very thin and malnutritioned, and I just wasn't liking the way I was feeling. I wanted to be strong. You know, I'm a very strong, independent woman, and I wanted my body to kind of feel that way as well. And so along that journey, my friend introduced me to the Zalevo protein is where I started. And I just started doing it as a meal replacement, and, you know, started feeling a lot better, started feeling more energized, started looking a lot better and feeling in. I also started taking the collagen that has helped drastically with my skin tone and my hair and whatnot, and just feeling better in general. And then I decided to start getting really serious about, you know, wanting to feel strong and have a lot of lean muscle and, you know, look the way that I feel on the inside. And so I started taking the protein along with my workouts, and I started taking the alpha pre-workout. And as you can see, as you can tell, I like to color my hair a lot. These are all, you know, the timeline of just how I feel on the outside and how it's really shown on the outside now too.
Yeah, well, there must be something in the alpha and build that adds color to your skin. So you obviously have a tan now too.
Well, I started going down the tanning bed too.
Yeah. So between the second and third picture, I'm curious, just off the cuff, what do you think, roughly speaking? Is that a 3 or 4 month window, 5 months, 6 months?
Between the third and fourth?
No, between the second and
Or
third.
between the second and third? Yeah, I'd say it's probably about a 6 month
Yeah.
from when I started taking it, because that third picture is about 2 months ago. So
yeah, I want to be clear with people. Let's all be real authentic about this. So it wasn't, obviously you have great nutrition and you put the work in. It was the combination, yes?
correct. It was definitely the working out and the protein, the collagen, and the alpha all together.
Yeah, I love it. And that was, a lot of these results were starting to happen even before you had the new performance line, sounds like, as well. So
correct. Yep.
yeah. So Jim, any comments around Tricia's journey? I know you were just raving about her story as well, you and the Hintons.
Well, I think a picture is worth a million or 1,000 words, whichever that is correct. That the difference between the body composition tells it all. One, she had lost weight by depriving her body of nutrition and calories. In the third one over, suddenly the calories were still down, but the nutrition was in. And boom, you build muscle mass, because this protein contains everything to energize and build lean body and muscle mass, at the same time keeping your calories low enough that you don't gain the weight back through the fat side. And then on that last picture, whoa, now she's got guns being built to boot. And I understand that she has the flattest tummy and working on her abs, so I'm jealous.
Oh, well, I don't know where you heard that, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Tricia, you are an inspiration. Thanks for having the courage to step up tonight. Everybody give her some love, because she was a bit nervous to come on tonight. So I'm going to count to 3 and just send love or thank you or great job, whatever you want to say to this beautiful, inspiring lady. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tricia.
Tricia.
Good job,
You're
Trish. Looking
amazing.
good, girlfriend.
Sharing.
You go.
Yeah, great job. And great job, Donna, and great job, Andi. So we have one last story as well. Sorry about that robotic feedback. 1 second, guys.
Barbara, it happens to be your phone or your.
Yeah, we're good to go now, Jim. So thank you. We love you, Barb, but we're muting you, so it's all good. So it never does that otherwise. So another story is a lady who's just a beautiful soul inside and out, and she is definitely on a journey of transformation and working hard, working consistently on her fitness, on her health, inside and out. And Geri is over it. I had to check earlier. I see you all the time, Geri, and your hubby Larry. I forget where you live. She's in the Salt Lake, Utah area, and we just love this lady. So please welcome Miss Geri Newton to the call tonight.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here too, Miss Geri. So we're obviously going to pull up a little visual as well about your journey. Before we do that, could you give us a little preamble? Were there any specific challenges? What were a couple of the major points in your journey that you knew you wanted to see a change in?
The major thing that I started out wanting to see a change in was weight loss, which over the past year, the time that I've been doing Zalevo, I've been able to lose quite a bit of weight. And but I didn't want to just lose weight. I also wanted to be strong. That's important to me. And so it's evolved into both, and it's been an amazing journey.
It has been a great journey. And Kathy Horn is working with you a lot as well on that side.
Yeah, so do you want me to tell my muscle part of this story?
I do. Let's pull up your visual here.
Okay.
And let me see if I can push play. Yeah. So first of all, there you are in the middle doing your, are those called slings? I forget what they're called. Trapeze?
So that's a TRX, and it stands for something. What is it? Anyway, it's these rope things, tension rope things that you hang from the ceiling. And I have one in the gym in our house, and I have one hanging out in my tree outside.
I love it. And you're doing your strength workouts, your circuit about what, 3 or 4 times a week?
Yeah, so I do. So I started out working out 5 minutes a day, and I was reading the book called Atomic Habits, which one of the focuses is to do a little bit consistently for a long period of time, and that you'll see results. And it was incredible to me to have this mindset to be doing something every day and not going up and down and back and forth and stopping and going, but to become consistent.
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of my journey, was becoming consistent. And then I'd lost quite a bit of weight. And then at the beginning of the year, I think it was February, when we had our corporate event and all of those new products were announced. And so we were at that event, and Larry and I ordered the new products, and we were so excited to get them, absolutely loved them. And then I started working with the amazing Kathy Horn, and she says, so how are the Alpha and Build working for you? And I said, well, I didn't order those. And she's like, why not? And so I'm like, okay, well, I will. And so at that point, I was working with Kathy Horn, and she kept telling me, focus on muscle, focus on muscle. Muscle is everything. So I really started focusing my workouts on muscle, and that's when I started doing the TRX, and I had just been mainly doing the elliptical before that. So I started doing the TRX and started really focusing on muscle, and I was noticing a difference, and I was working out a little longer. But then I got the Alpha and the Build, and that was a game changer for me. It was amazing. I started taking the Alpha before my workouts. I would do Alpha 3 times a week on my more focused muscle workouts. And I could not believe the difference. I could work out longer and harder, and then next day I wasn't sore. It was so amazing. I was able to just do much better workouts, and I am noticing such a difference. I've lost a ton of inches, like 30 inches over the last few months on my body, and I have gained muscle and lost fat, And the biggest thing is the difference in how I feel, my energy, and things I'm able to do. I can walk longer. I can go upstairs a little bit more easy, things that have challenged me. And it's just been an amazing, amazing process. So
It
I'm
is.
super happy.
Yeah, and it's all about the journey, isn't it?
Yep.
Isn't it, Miss Geri? So no matter where somebody is, that's the beautiful part of this journey. Whether you've been an athlete all your life, whether you put on a few pounds and you're looking to shed that and get strong at the same time, whether you're young, old, in the middle, tall, short, that doesn't matter here. So you just start wherever you are and you start becoming more active, showing up consistently and putting the great nutrition in your body. Geri, love and light to you, and Larry, love you guys. Thanks for having the courage to come on tonight and share your story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So Jim, you want to close this out tonight? Powerful story.
Absolutely. I will just say this, learning from these beautiful women, there is no wrong way to use these master formulas. These have been designed to feed the body what they need, including the missing nutrients that are not in most of the food we consume daily. And as a result, the body knows what to do with those building blocks to convert it into those muscles and lean body that we need. And at the same time, help us burn the excess that's stored in our fat cells as fuel. And that has just been demonstrated by every one of these three individuals of what can be accomplished no matter where you are on your journey. There is no wrong way to use it. It will bless your life every time you put the right thing in your body, and your body will respond.
It will. It will. Thank you, Jim. And for that, once again, as a reminder, again, we have an ever expanding library of these calls. Tonight is an example of the powerful stories that we have in this community. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Andi. Thank you, Donna, Trcia, and Miss Geri as well. Next week, once again, what's next week, Jim, coming up?
Oh, good. Let's
It's our
see.
immune system.
Yes, the big defense against everything that could go wrong is our own immune system. Very important one to learn and understand that our body is built to protect us.
That'd be a great call. And then following that, we have the Energize to Alkalize with the greens. One of our, who else loves the Vital Core greens and berries? Yeah, it's one of my favorite products now. It's amazing. So also we have a pulse call coming up, and we have a virtual Zoom party this week as well. So get with your leaders and they can supply information about those events coming up. And Jim, you want to give us a countdown? And we get a lot of one of our favorite core values.
Absolutely. Okay, force for good at the count of 3, everyone. And if you feel like lifting your arms to the height to thank those beautiful people who participated tonight and were brave enough to share their personal stories, join us, okay? 1, 2, 3. Force for good. Yes, you are. Keep
Thanks,
being
everybody.
good. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Robert and Jim.
You bet.
thank
Love and light.
you.